Even though this is a presidential election, there are many more candidates on the ballot besides the president. Go to Ballot Ready for a nonpartisan guide to your entire ballot. From there, you can compare candidates based on stances, on issues, biography, or endorsements, and then save your choices to use when you vote by mail or in the voting booth. You can even request your absentee ballot or make a plan to vote early or on election day. This election matters. Make sure you have a plan to vote and vote informed. Now, with COVID being rampant this year, it is more important than ever to have a plan to vote. Think about this. Local elected officials affect our lives every day. Now, they decide who to prosecute, monitor the quality of our drinking water, and choose the leadership of our schools. 30% of voters take the time to vote, but they leave some part of the ballot blank. That's a missed opportunity, folks, to choose the leaders of our communities of this country. It's okay if you're unfamiliar with some of the more local positions. We recommend hosting a ballot party. Get together with friends over Zoom, split up the research, and go through your ballots together. Go to ballotready.org and enter your address and make a plan and vote informed. Especially this year, you'll be glad you did.
First and foremost, I have to say congratulations to Clemson. They obviously thoroughly outplayed us tonight. We're very disappointed in the way that we present ourselves. We did not play with the, I cannot fault our effort, but I thought our discipline in terms of doing things right made it very difficult for us to execute against a top-ranked team on the road. And we have to own that. We have to go back and watch the film tomorrow and see, why it looked like the way that it looked. But I do like the way that our guys stuck together. I like the way that there was not a panic on the sideline or at halftime or anything. And we will build from this, and we will put all of our focus on beating Pittsburgh next week. With that, I'll open for questions.
All right, first we're going to go to David Lake from Inside the U. David, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I guess, from your vantage point, why did the offense get off to a slow start and then just never found a rhythm in general? What was Clemson doing?
Well, obviously they were very aggressive. We know that they've got an outstanding defense, and we just struggled to get the first down. We couldn't get the first down. We couldn't win P10, the first play of a drive, to get our tempo going. We knew that making plays on the outside lanes of the football field was going to be a big key tonight, and they just about made every play, or we didn't make the plays on the outside part of the football field. So, combination of those type things, and then just some mistakes that we made. That we just haven't made, throughout the course of the year, and we have to analyze that and certainly give credit to Clemson, but look as to why we performed the way that we performed.
Next, we're going to go to David Furones from the Sun Sentinel. David, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. On that thought, I know Cameron Harris didn't have his first official carry until the 6:37 mark in the second quarter. Do you wish he would have gotten more involved early, getting some touches? And then what do you attribute to the dominance up front and the line of scrimmage on both sides? And I have a follow after as well.
Well, a lot of it was just the way that they were pressuring our run game. So they were just basically sending a guy off the edge. And so, again, when you get into a game, you have to find out how people are going to play you. So it took us a drive or two to kind of make some adjustments to find out how the run game was being defended. Because as I mentioned before, people have generally played us differently than what we've seen on tapes. You got to get in the game, you got to find out. Certainly we made some adjustments, but never enough to be able to consistently run the football on them.
And my other question is, now you guys have kind of gotten used to these primetime games, I guess, if you will. Playing at night, now you have to pivot and play an afternoon game. Instead of playing a big rivalry game against FSU or number one Clemson, now you have to play the Pitts and the Virginias of the ACC. How do you now transition over to switching over to continue to play in a different atmosphere?
Well, nothing switches over. Even just that comment just shows a lot of times the arrogance that we have the Pitts and the Virginias. As if they are somehow lesser than the last three times that we've taken the field in our league. Obviously Pitt gave us all we could handle a year ago, and Virginia won our side last year, despite the results today. We play in the ACC where we should expect to play a lot of close competitive games. We just have to get better. And obviously, that goes without saying. But we have to present a better version of ourselves than we did tonight. And obviously, we've got a lot of respect for who Pitt is. They bring back an extraordinary amount of fourth and fifth year players on their football team, and obviously they'll be reeling from their results as well.
All right, next we're going to go to Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Diaz. How worried are you about Brevin's shoulder? I know that he had to leave there and was in the locker room.
Yeah, just initial exams. I think it's hopefully it's not too bad. So we'll find out more when we get back to Miami tomorrow. But certainly he's such a key part of our offense. That was a big miss when he went out.
And then secondly, the targeting penalties. I know that it's something that you guys work on a ton to avoid, but third time for Amari and then the one by Keontra. Just your thoughts on what happened on those plays.
That's how many times have I said it in this setting, how difficult it is to officiate the targeting. I've never seen someone hit someone in the stomach and have that call for targeting. It's becoming very difficult to hit a quarterback now. Amari, I thought, was very difficult on his because I do think he was being pushed from behind, and I think Amari was trying to miss Trevor Lawrence. If Amari is not trying to miss you, it's going to be a big hit. And, I've said over and over again, I do think that there should be a way to have intent, like a flagrant 1 and a flagrant 2. It's out of the officials on the field, it's out of their hands. But the one on Keontra Smith, I struggle to think of another one that I've seen similar where you hit a guy and where his helmet was. And obviously we teach all of our guys with our eyes up, and I've got to get a closer look, to what they saw. But they called it. And obviously the depth, our secondary missing Gervin in the first half, and you got to stick Brian Balaam, a true freshman, and in there at Death Valley. I think Brian's got a great future, but it was a baptism by fire for a couple of drives when he was in there in the second quarter.
Thanks. We have time for a few more. We're going to go to Tom D'Angelo from the Palm Beach Post. Tom, go ahead.
Hey, Manny, you've seen so many quarterbacks in your career, game planned against so many of them. Just talk about Trevor Lawrence, what makes him great.
Well, he's obviously extraordinarily talented. He's got great toughness, and he's got the respect of everybody, I'm sure, in their locker room, and is a great competitor. But like I said, and this is, I'm telling you, I can talk superlatives on Trevor Lawrence all day, but Travis Etienne is the guy. He's as good of a player as there is in college football, and obviously the whole plan on third down is don't let him throw the ball to Etienne, and that is easier said than done. Because when he gets in the open field, he's so dangerous, and we've got to do better than what we did because it was just when Trevor Lawrence was throwing the ball 5 yards on a swing to Etienne and then let him go. Those also count as passing yards. So we were unable to take away what they do best and what their strength was on third down. We made adjustments. We made adjustments. We got better at it as the game went on. But in those first couple drives, that was really tough.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, our last question for you comes from Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan, go ahead.
Coach, Derek King's play, how's he doing? I know he was sacked, I think, 4 times. He threw 2 picks. How is he? And also, do you feel confident that these guys will stick together and not fall apart? I know you had hard times last year.
Last year's team was a different team than this team. The guys in that locker room, they want to be together. There was no negativity during the game. There was no negativity at halftime, and there was a lot of tears. There's a lot of guys that have a lot of love for each other in that locker room right now. So, but Pitt's still a tough out anyway. So again, we've got to play our best to be able to beat them. Derek's disappointed. He's disappointed like all those other guys in that locker room were. But I have to say it was very difficult for whoever was playing quarterback for the University of Miami because we were having a difficult time handling their pressure up front, and we were having a difficult time getting open. So it was a rough day for the offense, obviously all along. However, Derek is a competitor, and even we talked about when we got into the fourth quarter. Let's put together a drive that we can be proud of. And what he did with his feet on that drive and willing himself into the end zone right there, that's who everybody in our locker room wants to follow, and that's who everybody in our locker room leads us. And that's why I don't sit around and, we wear the same uniforms as a team that played last year, but we're not those guys.
Good morning. What you heard was Manny's presser after last night's 42-17 loss to Clemson on the road up in Clemson, South Carolina. I'm going to give you my thoughts on last night's game. One, as the Clemson beat writer said, we never had a chance against number one Clemson. And even though it was a sloppy track, my worst fears coming into the week came to pass last night. We were not ready for the big stage against an elite opponent like Clemson. It just wasn't there. What can you say about ETN? 17 carries, 149 yards, and had 8 catches for 73. That second touchdown was really the backbreaker because we were in the game up to that point, but we did not take advantage of the matchups that I felt we needed to do going in. We could not stop Valen Spector for them. He had 5 tackles, 2.5 for loss, and 1.5 sacks. They took away our passing game, which I really felt was key. BJ gets hurt, just as you heard Manny say, with a shoulder injury. Tyler Davis for them really took away our running game. We could not do anything up the middle with Cam, as you heard Manny saying his presser, with Rooster and with Chaney. The three-headed monster was basically neutralized last night. This is the stat that really bugs the hell out of me. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. We had 15 penalties. 15 penalties for 135 yards. Against a great team like Clemson, that, my friends, is not going to get the job done. And not to mention the fact we only had 210 yards of total offense. Clemson had almost 500. We win the toss. We defer. The killer penalty was 4th and 4 at our 38. Clemson goes for it. We thought Q had the pick by Q, but we were ruled offside. Like I say, the little things. 2 plays later, Clemson makes us pay for that with another penalty. When we got the scoop and score at the end of the first half to cut it to 11, I felt, okay, we're in the ball game. We get the ball to start the second half. Maybe we make adjustments and then make a move. But we punt on the first drive. And we get the chain out. And I felt, for us to win last night, I said we would have to get the chain out twice and be a +2 minimum in turnover margin. That was not the case. We get the ball to 39. Derek gets the first down. Gets the first down on the third down. But on the next play, Derek gets picked off in the end zone. I think it was an underthrown ball there. After Derek's second pick of the night, the great ones put teams away and make you pay for mistakes, and that's what Trevor Lawrence and Clemson did to us. It was just one of those bad games last night. You hope you learn from. You hope you learn from those mistakes. We have to get better at this. We have to get a lot better. We saw last night what elite is, and we are certainly not there yet. We have a long way to go to be elite. Clemson made mistakes, and yet we could not take advantage. He spikes the ball at Gilbert. They get a penalty. Didn't matter. They just beat our butts in every single way. It was absolutely horrendous last night. I mean, if you read Cam Underwood's State of the U this morning, you give him his grades. You see his grades from his good, bad, and the ugly series. I can't disagree with it. I just can't disagree with it at all. My report card's pretty much the same as says if you get a chance, read it. I mean, when you saw Travis Etienne last night, the guy's the real deal. There's no question about that. We got to bounce back against Pitt next week. And I feel we will do that. I remember we beat Pitt last year up there. And it was similar to the conditions we saw last night. Almost similar, I should say. Let's see who this Kane team really is after a bad loss like last night. Next Saturday afternoon at noon against Pittsburgh at home. Drop another pod probably next Saturday morning on game day. Win or lose, go Canes.